You hear me talk about NordVPN.com/Fightful a lot. It's because I use it every single day. You can listen or watch your favorite shows abroad, whether you're in the States like me and you want to watch shows from the UK or Australia, or you're just traveling and you want access to your local things. You can shield your data from snoops and criminals. You can safely listen to your shows, stream shows, browse in complete privacy by shielding your IP address. You can change your virtual location with just one click. Protect yourself on public Wi-Fi. You know that can be dangerous. People can get access to all of your stuff. Secure all the devices that you own. It's available on all major operating systems, and you can connect up to 6 devices separately with one subscription. 30-day money-back guarantee, 4 months free added on top of that deal. NordVPN.com/Fightful with 3 great tiers for you to enjoy. What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here with a name you know from a little bit of everywhere. We got Crowbar here
everywhere,
with us.
yes.
A little bit of everywhere, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate
You're
you
awesome.
doing it.
You are awesome.
I saw the guest list here at WrestleCade, and I was like, I've never talked to Crowbar. I mean, I interacted with you online some, but had never had the opportunity to interview you. And you've had like this incredible resurgence, not just on the independent scene, but a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
How's this been for you, man?
It's just been a lot of fun. I always say this when I do an interview. When I was breaking into business, it was never fashionable to express how much you enjoy what you do. I freaking love wrestling. I'm doing it 31 years. Still having I don't know what this resurgence is. I don't know. I'm just having a great time, and a lot of cool, unexpected opportunities have popped up, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really cool.
What led you to really ramping it up? Because, I mean, you've been in the wrestling business for a long time, but I remember a certain period of time, like, you would start getting credited for helping out a lot of wrestlers even be able to continue wrestling for your work outside the ring. That's got to feel amazing. That's in general.
Yes. I'm a physical therapist outside of pro wrestling. Love that career too. I actually pursued that and pro wrestling at the same time. So when I was doing WCW, ECW as Devin Storm, I was a full-time student, and I was flying back, and I would go to my professors, hey, can you give me assignments so I could try to get this done so I could fly out here, and everybody was super, super cool. And that was long before online classes. It was all, you had to be there. So it was very challenging. And so I've had many of the guys in my office, my physical therapy office, and it's great to help the guys in the back if they ask for advice or this and that with wrestling. But to help somebody that's in a really bad way, help them get back to the ring, that's super rewarding as well.
I mean, that's got to feel amazing. Because, I mean, sorry buddy, but considering, I mean, before like you helped wrestlers get back in the ring, you knew what it was like to battle the scars and the you bump, you end up with a bulging disc. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to handle it? All that stuff. Like, so when a guy like Joey Janela puts out there on Twitter, like, oh, Crowbar is one of the reasons I'm able to wrestle as often as I do. Wow. That's got to feel good, right?
It feels really, really good. It's awesome. And that background has, I think, enabled me to continue to be able to wrestle. I've been using it at the level that I do now. So it's the first 10 years of my career were my bump card was way up there. I was doing 2-3 days a week, bump. And after WCW, I just saw there were so many people going to be in WWE, and that didn't work out. TNA didn't work out. All these things weren't working out, so I just took many steps back, and I went from being full-time wrestler, part-time physical therapist to full-time physical therapist, part-time wrestler, and I still always kept my hand in wrestling, but I just knew that there was nothing there. And whenever I would get an injury or a bad bump or something, knowing how to treat that, I think has enabled me to
extend your career.
Yeah.
And now, not only, I mean, you would see wrestlers in the 70s, 80s wrestle into their 50s, like that would happen, but it was nowhere near the level like it is now. Like when you see yourself or Jericho or somebody that are going out there and they're having better matches than they did in the 90s because they take care of themselves better, and just the increased athleticism.
Like, it's just mind-boggling to see that. The WCW stuff, man, I was such a big fan of that. Who reached out to you to bring you into WCW?
So when I first went in, it was as Devin Storm, bad mullet, bad outfit, bad.
Is any mullet bad? They're back in style
bad
now.
Everything, bad outfit, everything. But that was Kevin Sullivan reached out through a Northeast promoter, Tony Rumble.
Yeah.
They brought me out there for the cruiserweight stuff.
I would see Tony Rumble's name in like PWI and stuff like that an awful lot.
And then from there, I went from that to ECW.
Yes.
Spent about a year there or so, maybe a little less year. Then I went back doing enhancement matches and doing tag matches with Ace Starling. And we were both in school full time. And then I had met Dallas Page. I was there, and I tell everybody, you can work as hard as you want. You ultimately need somebody, or it helps have somebody open the door for you. And Dallas was there at that time. He goes, dude, bro.
Yeah, of course he did.
You have a lot of talent, this and that, the other thing. But back then it was also different. He said, if you keep doing these matches, you're going to get typecast as a job guy.
There you go.
So he goes, leave for now. He goes, finish school, get your degree, and get better. And if I can help you down the line, I will. And he's essentially who got me in.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
The ECW run.
Forever grateful.
The ECW run, I'm so always fascinated by, because that was such a unique time for ECW. They were growing, and they would pop up on like Raw. They would do all kinds of stuff. What were your feelings when you went into that company? What were your expectations? Were you just like glad I'm getting the opportunity, or?
I love the product. I still like mixing in the chairs and the more hardcore type. It's a style that I like. I don't like garbage wrestling where you just smack guys.
Sure.
But I like where you have a wrestling match and it just gets so heated it degrades to where
RVD and Jerry Lynn was the perfect one for me. When I saw that on TNN, I was like, oh, okay, that's like how you can use a chair, and it makes a lot of sense.
And I'm also a big fan of using objects that naturally occur at ringside. A guardrail, a chair, a bell. Now the tables have been grandfathered in.
Of course, yes.
For whatever reason, we don't know why, but there are folding tables under wrestling they serve some function. I'm not sure what they are, but that's just...
Everybody has a buffet after the match or after the show. It's nothing that you guys know about.
Now.
Yes.
But way back, you can't bring an announcer's table in the ring. They're gigantic now, but...
Yeah.
But old WCW, they used to have the folding tables, and they used to pile drive guys on them, bring in tables in the ring.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is I like that a lot more than...
of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But those guys, I love the product. I was excited about going. It didn't work out too good there for me. I was probably the most unpopular guy in the locker room.
I will say, like, in that, like, 1999 WCW era, it did kind of make sense to me when they would just have a garbage can full of stuff. Because they knew, at that point, they're like, we're just going to enable these guys and just have this stuff ready. And I love that. Yeah. Like, I would see you, I didn't know him as Sandman then. I knew him as Hack. And Bam Bam Bigelow and all these guys that I liked watching work. But one of the stories that I love the best, and I'm sure you get it a lot, is the David Flair and Daphne stuff. Yeah. And, of course, David Flair, everybody looks at him and they're like, nepotism. And I was too. Yeah. And then when they got with you, I was like, well, this is different. Yeah. This is completely off the wall. Like, I didn't expect this. And you guys were, like, my favorite act. You guys were the people that I tuned in to watch. How was that pitched to you? How was that told to you? And how did you feel at the time?
At that time, I was already in WCW. Yeah. Doing the Saturday Night Show as a darker Devin Storm, kind of similar to my look right now.
Yeah.
And I was being groomed to be the next more aggressive, bigger cruiserweight that will come up.
Sure.
And at that time, I was doing that for the Saturday Night Show. As the story goes, we go to Vail, Colorado. We fly into Denver. The Saturday Night Show takes place after Night Show and the Thunder. It's like the third day or something like that. And I fly in, and so I'm told. I go into the hotel bar, the restaurant. I have a leather jacket, my hair's down, and supposedly Vince Russo really liked my look. And
He said, bro, per usual.
And then the other management vouched for the work that I did. So David Flair was popping the rating. But David Flair's not a strong in-ring performer, so what do? So they came up with an idea, let's put David in a tag team partner with a tag partner that's a stronger in-ring performer who could do the majority of the work, so we could still get David in the ring, but we could kind of hide him. And I had never met him when I was there. You're really not sure what the son of the nature was going to be like. Is he full of himself? Is he whatever? And he was a sweetheart of a guy, nicest guy. He was limited. He knew he was limited. He always wanted to learn. And Shannon was fantastic. We were three kids just having a great time. Yeah. And that's always, it sounds very simple. People ask me about politics at the time. What about when this changed or this booker or that booker? I just had a great time. And I mean, it sounds very, you know what I mean? That's just where my head was at.
Well, at the time, like I watched Saturday Night religiously. So when you pop up there as on TV as Crowbar, I'm like, man, this is great. A guy I've been watching. Like, I was always like, when I'd go to school, I'd be like, don't sleep on Saturday night. Like, you would see Blitzkrieg. Remember him?
Absolutely.
And I was like, where'd he come from? Like, out of nowhere. And he was unbelievable. And the talent that would like sort of be rebirthed on Nitro, like yourself. I mean, where'd the Crowbar name come from? How'd you develop that?
David Flair was hitting people with the crowbar, so Vince wrote it into the story where they meet me at the gas station, and
honestly, it sounds like a Russo thing. I used to do a show with him, and he's like, you know, sometimes you just take the most obvious thing.
I remember so the shtick was, the bit was, he pulls in for gas, and I'm filling up another car's gas, and I yell at the guy because he asked me to check the oil. Yeah. And I start bitching him out, and then David loves it because he's nuts, and he goes, hey, what's your name? And some people call me Crowbar. Yeah. There we go.
Throughout, now, you also went into TNA. Did you ever have talks with WWE about coming in or anything like that? Because to me, you were always a guy that, I mean, for a more extended run, of course. Yeah, I looked at you, and I was like, well, you're the kind of guy that would have been really, really great in WWE.
I did the light heavyweight stuff.
Yes.
As Devin Storm. There was talk at that time, believe it or not, that when I graduated, I would have been an opening match guy and also be the on-the-road physical therapist for the guys. Yeah. And that just never...
That light heavyweight roster, especially when you look back at it, you're like, oh my God, this was like a lot of people before they blew up. Yeah. Like Scott Taylor, of course, and like so many people. Taka before he hit it big in America, and S.A. Rios before he was S.A. Rios, he was Papi Chulo. Like, you look back at that and you're like, man, they had something there. Yeah, and I was like, man, if they would have just given it a little more time, all these people came into their own. Because if they had Scotty 2 Hotty, Crowbar, S.A. Rios, instead of Devin Storm, Scott Taylor, Papi Chulo, they'd been like, we're cooking. We're good here. Yeah. Yep. And what I love most is a lot of the cruiserweights back then also got typecast for not having personality. Well, that would not have been an issue with the group that you all had as well. The AEW spots, how did that come apart?
I'm watching it during the pandemic. Everybody's locked down. I'm still working, thank God we were able to stay open. And I'm watching Darks, I'm watching Elevation. I really wanted to go down. I said, well, they got these 3-hour shows. Yes. I could probably find a spot. I would hope I could find a spot to do some stuff here. But I work in physical therapy. I'm in New Jersey, and they had the laws where if you traveled out of state, you got to lock yourself down for 10 days. And it just wasn't feasible. So I started doing the promos, those videos that I was doing, and that was my wrestling outlet.
The pandemic did force a lot of people to get even more creative.
Yes. Yeah. And the promos were my outlet. Like, I had to do something wrestling oriented, and that became it. And I was actually down in Disney on vacation. July, I had an AEW match in October, and I got a text from QT, I'm going to bring you in, Joey wants to work with you, and first day of the Disney vacation, you have these aspirations to eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want. Of course. So now I'm getting up earlier, doing more cardio, watching what I'm eating, this, that, and the other thing, and I was doing stuff there, but that just gave me a little bit more of a... Yeah. It really was an unexpected blessing, a really cool thing that popped up. And from there, I just took the stuff more and more seriously. Not that I don't take it seriously, but
Yes.
You get that taste, and then you're like, wow, this is cool. And I'm going to train harder. I'm going to get in the ring more, and I'm going to do more and more. And then,
Of course.
And AEW goes to the Flair show, and the Flair show goes to New Japan, and did Impact last night, so that was kind of fun. Yeah.
You mentioned a name like Ace Darling earlier on. You were able to navigate this unique indie scene that, again, was covered in the magazines and stuff like that. That's how I knew who Reckless Youth and Ace Darling and so many of these people were, and you were, because I would read about them before I ever saw them. How would you compare that to modern day, where you've got the GCWs, Black Label Pros, Warrior Wrestling? There's this unique new influx of indies as well that you're sort of navigating now.
Yeah, there's and I'm doing it 31 years, and I'm going into locker rooms now, and I don't know hardly anybody sometimes. And so, so being a veteran, it's still awkward and weird, and I definitely have some ADD going on and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I'm a very I can be a socially awkward person, so I'm trying my best to navigate through.
Who among us couldn't be, though? Like, I can't, like, man, when people just walk in and light up a room, I'm like, man, I'm a shy guy, man, and especially when I don't know everybody.
You're a shy guy, though. You come up with very...
It's all an act, kayfabe.
Kayfabe.
There we go. But, I mean, like, most of these people know who you are.
Yes.
But, I mean, there are also going to be some people that maybe they just got into wrestling. They're not familiar with anybody. Like, how does it compare to when you were younger? Like, were you more open when you were younger?
There were less shows, but they were big shows.
Yeah.
And the biggest difference was talent. Talent was huge. Yeah. Me and Ace were the smallest guys on all the indies. We were the opening match on every card, and then little by little, more and more smaller, more athletic guys would trickle in, and it's evolved to now where I'm actually usually one of the bigger guys on each.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing because I was used to being the smallest guy. And
what do you make of that? Because I mean, like, I think MMA helped an awful lot to show people like what athletes actually look like.
Yeah.
Because if, all due respect to the Warlord, if he got into a UFC cage, he's probably getting gassed out in a minute and a half.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's just the nature of fighting and the business and stuff. What do you make of the smaller athlete?
Today's guys are by far, when you watch some of the stuff these guys, they are by far the most athletically gifted wrestlers ever. There's stuff like, they do some moves that I can't even register. Like I have to rewind, slow motion, and see what it was. Like, for me, shooting star press, okay, I can register that. Scorpio back in the day doing the 1.5.
Oh, I thought that was normal, and then I was like, he's 240 pounds. That's a UFC heavyweight.
And now you see these guys, they jump up, corkscrew, and I'm like,
yes,
that looked amazing, but I really don't know what it was. And I go, holy shit, how is this guy doing this? Or this girl doing this? It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Totally amazing. They are athletically gifted beyond belief.
I love it. What was your weight around WCW time? Like, how big were you then?
I was about between 215 and 2.
I mean, that is also a UFC heavyweight. Yeah. Like anything above 205, and like I would watch you fly through the air and flip through the air, and I didn't have a frame of reference until I watched and trained MMA, and I'm like, oh, that's not normal for a guy that size, because WCW cruiserweight was 225 and under. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a huge human being. Yeah. Like, I would see Al Snow, and his arm was the size of my torso. Yeah. My God. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
I'm really just on Twitter. I work full time. I'm a dad, so I don't have time to do them all. So at WCW Crowbar. And this has been a blast.
Oh, we're gonna do this again. Like, hopefully every time I run into you.
Fun thing. This was just another cool thing in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it so much.
We're here at WrestleCade, guys. Check out Crowbar. We're gonna be talking to him again. Until next time, we're out.